Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA update. Today I'm going to be covering Bitcoin, looking at the weekly time frame here against USD. And what I wanted to point out to you guys is two very similar sort of corrective or bull market sort of phases here for Bitcoin that we experienced in the past and one that we're currently going through now. So you could look here back in 2019 where you started to pump up and you entered this sort of falling channel for Bitcoin, and you had this corona dump in 2020 of March, okay, and you put in this low here for Bitcoin of around $3,800. At this point you could say, okay, this is where the correction was over. You came out, you tackled this level of resistance, fell back to a support, and off you went for Bitcoin, and it never looked back since that point there in 2020. And you can see it had an exponential year of growth in 2021. And I think we're going through something very, very similar here, where, you know, before this correction, Bitcoin did come up quite a lot, but it got rejected again. As you can see, people were looking for the continuation, but because of COVID, you put in the black swan and you literally crashed and put in that wick down there, as we were saying. But you did sort of V-shaped recovery, bounce straight back up above the EMAs, I believe, and managed to create the bull market and resume the bull market here for Bitcoin. Now from this 2021 high here in November, we can see, okay, that you've been coming up and you've been caught in the same sort of channel as this previous channel here, which is some sort of falling channel that you're in. And once you do break out of resistance and hold it as support, that's your go signal and your continuation sign that, okay, potentially here this is the reversal. And you can see that this was a reversal this time once you did break this resistance. Now, I think potentially if we do something similar here, where we found support, we ran up to this resistance, if we can break through, come back and hold it as support, and then look to get continuation, then I think we're looking very, very healthy here for Bitcoin, and this year could be quite fruitful for crypto, and you'll be doing something very similar to what you did back here in the COVID sort of area. Again, off this FTX news, this could be quite an artificial dump on top of the lows that were already put in back in June/November. And again, this FTX news has just forced us down even further, and this is why Bitcoin has propelled in the past couple of weeks. But again, I don't think we're out the neck of the woods yet. As I said, you can see that you have got some sort of level on resistance in your head for Bitcoin since you've been in this downtrend. So you've come down, bounced up to this resistance, and every time you've come up to it, you've been rejected. This is again now the third time you're coming up to it. So this is your third point of contact here for Bitcoin. But what I wanted to point out is that within retracements like these, you do normally see 3 points of contact on resistance and 3 points of contact on support. So you can see you had this support here back in November 2021. That was the second point of contact there in January 2022. And then you had this third point of contact here in June 2022. That's your 3 points of contact on support. And then this is your first point of contact resistance, second point of contact resistance. Right now, this is your third. So you have put in 3 points of contact, confirming that, okay, basically we're looking for some sort of break. And this is either going to break out of here and come back for support, which is what I would like to see for Bitcoin, one sort of further leg up. And at that point, come in for a steeper retracement, potentially back to areas I'm going to show you guys in a second. But I would like to see the push through here, because if we do fail and fall back to resistance and fall back to support, and meet this as resistance and fall back to support, and we don't hold support and bounce back up again, you know, we start to retrace back down to these lows of 15k, then, you know, of course we're in for a complete ride of rejection here, and this is just a fake out like this previous rally was here, where Bitcoin's come up and, you know, it meets resistance and comes back down. Potentially you could be looking to come back down further as well. So there's anything's possible here, guys, okay? But we are looking relatively good here. I would expect some sort of pullback. As I said, I would like to see a breakout, but if we don't get that and we do start to pull back here, I would look for a certain area of support. Now I'm going to look into the daily time frame very quickly. Potentially, if we have run into resistance, and this is our resistance point at around 23.4k, I think it was, retracing back down to this low down here at 15k. I would look, personally, I think I would look for an area of support around this area here, which is the 0618 at 18.141k. Now, the only reason being is because Bitcoin put in a low here, okay, it came up, met resistance on the 0618 at 18k, came back for support, put in a higher low, and broke out, okay? But since you've broken out of this sort of ascending lows and this ascending triangle here, since Bitcoin's broken out of it, it hasn't actually come back and back tested it for support. So if Bitcoin has run into resistance here at this 23k range, potentially I would like to see some sort of retracement either to the 050 at 19k And if you did start to come up but lose that and hit your head on that as resistance, I would look for a retest of this 0618 at 18.141. And anyone that missed out on this opportunity and this leg for Bitcoin here, you know, it was a lovely rally off of these lows in the past few weeks. You've come up 50%, you know. But if you've missed out, I do think, you know, what goes up must come down, and you are quite overextended here from this 20 EMA. So potentially you could be looking for a pullback to that. And if that is lost, then potentially this 55 is creeping up, and this is where you could come down to that 19K. And what Bitcoin would need to do then, if it did fall down to this 19K area, and you did see Bitcoin come down to this mark, it would have to come up and tackle out of this high to confirm that you're creating a new impulsive wave. And what this is for Bitcoin, if we look back to the weekly, what this is for Bitcoin is on a larger scale, this is potentially a wave 1, come back for a wave 2 for support between the 050 and the 0618, and then look for a wave 3, and you'd have to tackle out of this 25K, I think, or you'd potentially meet that as resistance, come back for a wave 4, a short wave 4, and then a wave 5 up to, you know, I think I'd have further targets if I get some fibs on, and that would be my targets up there. But you know, I think you'd be looking to take out of this high and start a new impulsive wave, and this is potentially the low end for Bitcoin at this point in the at 15.5K, 15.5K there, yeah. Or potentially, in some sense, some people would say this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, this could be a wave 4, and then you put in a wave 5 up to this 25K. I do think in my overall targets for Bitcoin are running back up to this previous resistance point, because you can see that Bitcoin had a level of resistance and was sort of in this falling wedge pattern again here on the weekly, where you was caught between resistance, support, and at this point you came up, you've broken resistance, and right now I think a back test to support around this area, around the 18K area, would be very healthy for Bitcoin to confirm continuation. And at that point I do think we would retest this 25K in the coming weeks. So that's what I'm potentially looking at for Bitcoin here. Potential retracement to 19K, 18.1K. It might not even come that steep, guys. Honestly, the look of it at the moment it's looking very, very good. Again, you've broken this level of resistance for Bitcoin here on the weekly time frame, and potentially what happens is when you start to break out of these sort of patterns, you retrace back to where the patterns actually started to form. So you're starting to basically work your way back up to that target of where you created it at 25.3K there. So yeah, guys, that's the targets I'm looking for. Potentially a little pullback here again to 19K, to 19 to 18K, around that sort of area. I'll probably be looking to throw a bit more in if Bitcoin does pull back. And at that point, hopefully we get that push that takes out this high and gets us back up to that 25K range that we put in back in August 2022. So that's a quick update for you today on Bitcoin. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe. From Chart Nerd TA, take care, guys. Peace out.